Hello, today we're going to craft some high energy shield helmets, either for yourself or like I do for some profit crafting. These are very popular as they are used in many builds that use CI, stack intelligence or just want a lot of energy shield. We're here on POE Ninja doing some research. We have the rare helmets right here. And as we can see, the helmet base type that's used most is the Lich's Circlet, which is the highest ES base type. And there you can check the modifiers that most of these have. So increased energy shield and flat ES. These are obviously very popular to max out ES in combination with the hybrid modifier. And then intelligence for suffixes. This taken as chaos is a combination with CI, very common. And then increased mana rest. Both of these are actually Eldritch implicits, so we can force them on there. And obviously intelligence in combination with some form of resistances for the suffixes. Right, and you can scroll down right here and you can see indeed that most of these builds also use chaos inoculation, so clearly that's a very common combination. Right, a quick look at Path of Exile. We've selected the Lich's Circlet there, and then here these are the modifiers that we want. So increased energy shield and hybrid on prefixes plus flat, and then intelligence on the suffixes. First we're going to fix the prefixes. We're gonna either get a fracture for increased energy shield or hybrid. And as you can see here, the weight for increased energy shield is actually higher than hybrid. So ideally, because the roll chance is lower, you're gonna get this one as a fracture. And then we can use an essence for flat ES and then try to roll for high increased energy shield. That's what we're gonna do if the item is fractured. If it's not fractured, we're gonna use fossils, for example, with a high quality base item. And then after that's all done, we're going to use Eldritch currency to fish for high intelligence. So that's probably going to be 50 or higher. So first prefixes and then suffixes. So now it's time to buy the base items. Right, so here we are in the market. We're going to look for Lich's Circlet. And then base percent on 90, I prefer that. And then, you can reduce to 80 if you want. And then item level 85, obviously to hit tier 1 int. And then these are the two different fracks that we're going to look for. This is either the hybrid one, which is preferred, or increased energy shield. Now, you can set it to, let's say 90. It rolls up until 100. So we're going to turn that off and have a look. And what we see here is, look at that, there's a 91 for one div. Not that bad, right? One div is pretty good if you want to start. But if we look at something like 95, what's available for that? Ooh, it starts already at 5 divines, right? So that's pretty high for a base. So what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna have a look here and we're gonna turn on the other one that I had, which is the hybrid one. And as you can see here, ooh, this is interesting. Only 2 div for a max roll, right? So that's definitely very, very nice. We're gonna buy that one. And we're probably just gonna craft for this one. There's also another item I just bought here, and that's this one. 27% quality. Now, I found that earlier and I wanted to buy it immediately because, as you can see here, the base percentile was very, very high. It's 133 base energy shield. So we're going to buy that one. And so we have a fractured item here, and we have a very high base quality one. This one we can start crafting immediately. But what we want to do with this one is we want to split it. So splitting is great because it basically allows you to duplicate, or at least make one item, make 3 of them, right? So if you have very expensive base, this one is not very expensive, I bought it for 3 divines. But if you have a super expensive base, you can split it, right? And so what that basically does, it splits the item in 3, but it prevents it from being ever split again. So what are the requirements? 2 mods on each item. So I think what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to fill it up, and then you need a Black Morgan and a Phenomenal Plague Arachnid. I only have 1 rare beast too, so I'm just gonna add these, right? There you go, they appear there, and I'm just gonna buy more a rare beast, and then we're gonna split this item, so we got 3 bases instead of 1. Always do this if you have a very expensive base. Alright, so I've got some rare beasts, and now we're going to split. There we go, so we're going to split it. We're going to split it 1, it's very good base. So there we go. Let's see what we get. It's usually very quick. There you go. And so we have the 3 bases right here. And as you can see, this one also has 1T3, 1T3, and 133. So we've split the base in 3 and they all have the same base percentile, so that's very, very good. So now let's go to crafting. Alright, so here we have the items we're going to craft. We have the fractured hybrid, and then these are 3 split bases, right? We're going to use fossils with dense fossil for these ones, because we don't have a fracture, and so we want to force 3 very high energy shield mods. You can, if you hit something good, can fracture these yourself if you want, but that obviously risks the base. And these ones we can just use S's, right? So we just can spam S's on these until we get a very high ES roll, probably at least 530. And this is interesting. I found this one while I was looking for other items, probably 1 divine. And the interesting thing is it has tier 1 int, right? Max roll, or +2 all levels minion skill gems. Now, either one of these, if I hit a fracture, right, it's going to be very good crafting base to go with. The rarity, sadly not, but it's worth a gamble, so we're just gonna... Oh, fuck. No, well. Okay, we can just ignore that, right? We're just gonna put that away. Okay, and then there we go. So we're gonna start with putting all the fossils in here. And, oh, probably just gonna fast forward, but I'm gonna show you a couple of crafts. So let's have a look. 3, 2, 7, 4, 2, 1. Right, so what we get, tier 1 increased ES. We get a very low flat and a low hybrid, so we want to have more. 3, 2, 7, 2, 5. So you're just going to use fossils on this one to get a very high ES, and then once your prefix are 503. So what do we got? We got tier 1 flat and tier 1 increased, and we sadly have a hybrid ES and mana one. That is not great. I don't really want to continue with that one, especially because we have a very high quality base, so I want even more. So yeah, let's have a look at this one. 533. Immediately we hit something good. So we have 93%. We can even divine this, but I don't think I want to do that. So here, prefixes are all done. This was literally my second essence. So we're going to continue with this one. And I'm just going to continue with the fossils for the split ones, right? This definitely might take a while, but we're just going to see what we're going to get here. And I'm probably going to fast forward. Okay, I have to make that one rare. Okay, so we're back. And I wasted a bunch of currency trying to roll these. And then I realized the chances of hitting triple tier 1 or tier 1, and tier 2 is probably not very high. So I had a look and, well, let's have a look here. Yeah, so indeed, chances to hit something like that are very, very low with dense fossils only. So what I'm going to go for instead is I've rolled until I have at least one tier 1 modifier that I want, which is either the hybrid one or the increased energy shield one, and then I'm going to just roll with a deafening essence of woe. But obviously first I'm going to have to hit the fracture, so this risks the base, but you know, it's a 1 in 4 and I'm doing this for fun. And then here when I got lucky, so I got tier 1 hybrid and tier 1 increased energy shield, so 2 out of 4 chance of hitting a decent fracture. And then here once again I got the tier 1 hybrid. Definitely hope I'm gonna hit that fracture, and then we're just gonna continue with these. So let's see how this goes. Yes. Oh shit. Okay, I'm lucky. Okay, we hit at least one. Now 50% chance on this one. Fuck, we get nothing. And then this one, let's go Chaos Res. Sadly. Okay. So we're just gonna put these 2 away, and we wasted a bunch of currency, but that's okay. So we got increased energy shield, 97%, very nice. Now we're just gonna roll these ones, right, until we hit a good hybrid. So 524, that's pretty good. Now we want tier 1 hybrid. Basically, we're just gonna go for tier 1 hybrid. Oh, there we go. There we go. So 559, very good. And then here's tier 1, essence mod and tier 1. And then the suffixes will fix. So the suffixes, still have to craft them, right? So prefixes are finished on both of these. Now we can use Eldritch Currency, and in this case, if either of worlds is dominant, we can reroll all the suffix modifiers with this one. So we're just gonna make there, we're gonna both of these. As you can see now, either of worlds is dominant. And now we can just add a bunch of things. So what do we got here? Okay, pretty good. What you can do right now, you got pretty high cold res and lightning. You can, if you want, try to annul the stun and block recovery, right? As we didn't do. And then you can try to maybe slam intelligence. You can play around with Exalted Orbs, Eldritch Currency, just to hit something nice. So I'm gonna do that now and then probably fast forward to some nice results. And fast forward, here we are. We got a couple of funny items. So this one is the 27% one. You definitely probably want to fish for tier 1 int if you can. But I got an interesting one. I got high resistances. Nothing much, tier 2, tier 2, tier 3. But if we price check this one right for 550, you can probably sell this for, I don't know, maybe 29 to 35 divines, like here. So we're just going to put it up. And if not, I can just recraft it. And then this one is very interesting. I rolled tier 1 chaos res accidentally with some int. Not max, but decent. And I figured, you know what, let's just put some chaos res on there and sell that. Now, I don't know how much it's going to sell for, right? It could sell, right? Let's just take that off. If we're just going to look at chaos res, right, 44 and anything else, you see one here. We can check for 35%. It could sell for a lot. It also could sell for not much. So we're just going to put it up. You can definitely keep rolling if you want, but these were quite funny. I'm just going to put them up. This one for 60 divines. And then this one for 35, and then lower them over time. Obviously, you do probably want to finish them off, right? So I will look for a reduced reservation rate and base damage thickness chaos. And then I'm going to put them up for sale. So yeah, that's it really. Good luck if you're going to roll these. Definitely look for int, and that's it. Peace.